Hello everybody, good evening and welcome. Way smacking the mic with my hand. Welcome to the show. Hope everybody is doing well. Hope everyone has had a great week. I have had a very busy week. It's been absolutely mental, so I'm quite glad that I did literally nothing yesterday. I filled my day with absolutely nothing and it was great. It was bliss. It was awesome. I loved it. So, and today has been largely another day of that. I've played some games with my family. We played Scrabble. We played a numbers game. And we've been for a walk out in the nearby golf course, which we had entirely to ourselves, and the kids rode their scooters. It's been a gorgeous day. It's been great, and it's been exactly what I needed because I've had such a crazy busy week with work and for Personas and also work here at Jonny Lipsham Studios. This is still a working business. This is not something that I have put to bed or put to one side and, the only thing I do now is the Sunday Night Live. No. This is still a working business. So, I am still running Jonny Lipsham Studios full time and I'm also working for Personas full time. So I have my plate full. And it's great. I love it. I love what I am able to do for you guys, in both jobs. It's great. So, but it does mean that I have had a really busy week, particularly this week because I have been working on stuff for clients, and just had a very busy time, over at Personas as well. So yeah. It's been that kind of a week. I hope everybody is all right. And I guess most of you by now are probably getting thoroughly fed up of lockdown and all of that. We are too. We are definitely getting a little bit fed up with it now, but it's important that we kind of stay in it because, we don't want to get a whole nother second wave of brand new infections and then we all have to go back into lockdown so that people don't keep on dying. So it's important. So I'm not wanting to make this show political at all, but I'm sure we're all pretty much fed up with it, and we're all just going to have to try and be patient and love each other and care for each other and look out for each other. That's the best we can do, and that is kind of partly what I'm here for, especially on this show. I'm here to look after you guys, to serve you guys, and help you answer your music production questions and also show you a little bit of how I do things, because I'm sure pretty much you all must be at least a tiny bit curious about how I do things, because I don't necessarily do things the same way that anybody else does them. I don't do them the same way that Johnny Gibe does them. I don't do the same as Dave Vignola. I do things my way, and as much as I borrow from other people that I like and that I have learned from, and I learn from as many people as I can. I learn from you guys all the time. So, I have my own way of doing things. And, I figure it is, just as important to kind of let you in on my world and how I work as it is for you guys to, to ask questions about how things ought to be done as much as how I do them. So there we go. And I had pizza for dinner tonight, so everybody's a winner. Kyle Jedruziak with a $5 donation. Thank you. You are awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate it very much. You guys are great. Let's see. I'm going to go up to the top and see who's here. John Lake said, live in 7 hours. Must have made a wrong turn, just in case. Hi. Yeah, there is a bit of a scheduling funk going on here with YouTube, because I use British time, and yeah, they did enable it so that you can schedule in British time. Before, I had to schedule everything in Central time. I don't know why, but I had to. But they changed it so that, if you're in the UK, you can schedule everything in UK time, be that, Greenwich Mean Time, which is kind of what we have during the winter and the early part of spring, And then we have our summertime, British summertime, BST is what we call it. And so, YouTube have allowed us to do this, but what I think I'm discovering is I think there's a wee bug with scheduling of live streams if you are in the UK, or if you are in Europe, maybe it might be a European thing as well. And what actually happens is I schedule it to start at midnight. So the countdown timer runs out at midnight UK time, which is 6 p.m. Central Time. That's what's supposed to happen. But then what is happening is when I hit save and I let it go, it is somehow pushing that start time 7 hours into the future. Don't know why. So it wants it to start at 6 a.m. my time. So thank you, John, for kind of alerting me to that, and Dwayne as well alerting me to that. So I went in and I edited it as soon as you guys started saying, hey, 7 hours. I was just like, no. So what I'm going to have to do is kind of schedule it and then go back and edit it and correct it, because it's going to make it wrong. But all that aside, excuse me, all that aside, the important thing to remember is wherever you are in the world, this show always starts at 6 p.m. Central Time. So look it up on a world clock. There is several online that you can go and do this with. Go and look up what United States Central Time is compared to where you are in the world, and have it set up for that. So if you're in the UK, it's going to be midnight. If you're in Europe, it's going to be 1 a.m. And you can keep kind of adding as you go east. But, going the other way around the world, you have to subtract hours. So most of the time, the Central Time area is 6 hours behind UK. And then I think Pacific Time is a further hour, so it's going to be 7 hours. And if you're in the Eastern Time area, it's going to be 5 hours. I think I have that right. Somebody, I'm sure, will correct me, but I'm pretty sure I have that right, because I need to know what the time is in the Central Time area, because that is where PreSonus' audio electronics headquarters in Baton Rouge is based. And so they are in that time zone. So I need to kind of be aware of what time it is over there and their opening hours compared to mine here. So, yeah. So I kind of need to know that kind of stuff. So there you go. That's how you work that out. So hopefully that has nixed this issue, I hope. All right, so let's see. Ken is eating outdoors tonight. That's nice. Awesome. And Just Bob is here. In fact, I know Just Bob is not going to be here watching the show live, but he said he'd watch the replay. So Bob, if you're watching, hello. Hope you're doing well. Mike Neighbor is here. I was just talking to him offline. Kyle says the old PU-238 exploding space modulator. You guys are having a good chat there, which is cool. Thomas is here over in the Philippines. I'm not sure what time it is there in the Philippines, but I'm glad you're here. And Steve Vival is here. Let's see. Chat just jumped dramatically, inexplicably. Bobby Booth is here. No show is complete without Bobby Booth. Now that he's here, we can start. Mika is here. Steve with the first question. Who else is here? Sonic Tsunami, Edgar Price. And I think that's it. Yeah, we've got 17 people in the door so far, which is pretty cool. Steve with the first question says, can we scan the plugins without having to close and reopen Studio One, just like a one-time pressing button? In the plugin manager, when you open that, there is a button there that says rescan. I think you can do it there. I don't think you have to close Studio One and do it that way. Although, to be honest, my plugin scanner just scans and has done since 2013. It just scans every time I start Studio One. And it's never really been a bother. The only time it has been a problem is when I've had issues with Waves plugins, which I have had considerable issues with Waves plugins. And that is a subject for another time. Mountain time will be 7 hours. Pacific will be 8. Thank you. That's the one. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Mountain time is 7. Pacific is 8. Yeah. That is very helpful. Thank you. Maybe schedule for 23:59. Yeah, I could certainly try that and see if that fixes it. It's weird, but it is what it is. Mike Neighbor says it's absolutely gorgeous in PA today. Awesome. I'm glad you're having an absolutely gorgeous day. That's very cool. Let's see. What else do we have? Okay, thanks for that, Mika. Appreciate that. Thomas says it's 7:11 a.m. Awesome. Wow. 7 o'clock in the morning. So you are watching my show, having your breakfast at 7 a.m. Wow. That's awesome. So I'm glad that I'm able to cover people's lunches, people's dinners, and people's breakfasts all at the same time. It's great. Everyone seems to be eating. That's cool. All right, so what are we going to do tonight? Other than answer your questions, which we definitely are going to do, we are going to wrap up this tune that we have been writing over the last several weeks, and which you all must be pretty sick of by now, to be honest. But I thought it would be an interesting thing for us to get involved with and have some fun with. That was at least the idea. It was meant to be a fun thing rather than anything else. It was meant to be a fun little exercise to put me on the spot and see whether I could actually compose something live in front of you guys, in front of an audience. And I kind of think I can. I probably need a little more practice so that I'm a little less nervous about doing it. So maybe I'll do another tune in a week or 2 or 3, maybe. If you guys are still up for that. If you guys are up for me doing a completely new tune, then please let me know. As to my request for you guys to send me your questions or your suggestions for show topics, I have not received a single one. So maybe you guys just have no questions. I don't know. Or you have no issues that you have in Studio One. In which case, that's fine. That's fine. I will continue to just think up stuff, and we'll do them in the shows. Let's see. Bill says to rescan the plugins, you can have instruments. Or effects open, hover the mouse, then right click and press refresh. Yes, of course you can do it that way. Yep. That's cool. All right, so I have actually done a little bit with this song since we last left it. And before we start, I'm going to apologize because last week I was grumpy as heck. I really was, and I tore into a few of you just for no reason other than I was frustrated. And that's it. So, yeah, I apologize for being a grumpy old fart bag, as I was last week. Won't be this week, I promise. This week I will try not to be a grumpy old fart. So, now that I've got that out of the way, let's go and take a look at our song. And remind ourselves where we got up to. And here we are. We are in this section of the song. I've done a little bit of reorganizing so that we've got the drums and stuff and percussion stuff at the bottom. This is kind of how I normally have a session set up when I am mixing. It's just kind of, I just kind of threw in tracks as I was going along working this tune out, so which is why we started off with the drum loop and then I added the other stuff and I just threw in tracks. But I've organized it a little bit better. This is, to me, I have it organized this way for one particular reason, and that is because I'm used to reading scores. This is how I like to see things. Drums at the bottom. So drums and percussion, then bass, then keyboards, then guitars, then horns, and then any vocals and backing vocals. Lead vocal is always on top, and then backing vocals, and then horn section, and then rhythm section. That's, to me, that's how a score works. And so to me, that is what I want to see. I want to see it looking kind of a little bit like a score. For me, that's just how I work. Others of you have another way of doing it. You like the vocal down the bottom and the drums at the top. And, you know, whatever way you like to do it your way. This is just how I like to have it looking. And I just thought you might be interested in that. The other thing I did was I made this automation of the guitar that's doubling the bass to go to the middle and stay in the middle all the way through this this C section here. So the only bit we've really got to concern ourselves with is this last 8 bars. And then we are done with this tune primarily, and then we can just add a little bit of extra texture with these muted trumpets in this final A section. So although it's kind of A2 again, it's really A3 because we're going to add a little bit here. And then that'll be the end of the tune, pretty much. So hopefully we should be able to do all of this in one show, providing I do all my takes properly. So what have I done? Well, as you can see, I have this bongo track now, which is not a MIDI track, it's an audio track, because I actually got my own bongos out. There are bongos in the Latin percussion kit in Presence, and they're okay. They're not bad, but I just preferred my own LP bongos, and I decided to just kind of create a little 4-bar, was it 4-bar? Yeah, it was a little 4-bar loop. And then once I'd got it how I wanted it, it isn't quantized. I just kind of played it, liked how it felt, particularly with the drums, because the drums are not quantized. It is a nice, loose-ish, human-feeling groove. And actually nothing else is really quantized in this tune for that matter. All of the MIDI stuff is just kind of loose. It's not, you know, I can tidy up a little bit, but it's not quantized, really. So, yeah. So that's what I did, and I added a tambourine for this B section, and then it comes back for this A section. So have a listen to what I got here for these bongos, which I recorded with a stereo pair. The stereo pair, they're not a matched pair, but they are the same brand of microphone. I used a Behringer C1 and a Behringer B1 as my stereo pair. And they actually turned out pretty good, because the two mics, although different, were actually fairly well balanced together. So anyway, here we go. So there you go. There's a little bit of the bongos in solo there. Yeah, and they turned out all right, actually. And then in the B section, I added this tambourine. Okay, so now we're on to the C section. And then we just got to fill this last 8 bars, which is kind of like this first 8 bars here. And yeah, and then we'll be done. 4 bars, not 8 bars. It's 4, 8, 12, 16. Yeah, 4 bars. So we just got to fill in this last 4 bars. I've got some ideas kind of going around in my head, and then we're going to kind of finish on a nice big fat dominant chord going into this final A section, and then we'll stuff some muted trumpets in to fill out the texture a wee bit. So I hope you guys are up for that. I'm just going to pop over and have a wee look at the chat and see what you guys are thinking on that. Mika says, us grumpy old farts like to watch and learn from other grumpy old farts. It's all fine among friends. Yeah, I appreciate that. Gal says, you're fired. That's funny. I appreciate that, guys. You guys are terrific. All right, so back over to El Tuno. And let's get this last 4 bars done, and then we will be a little bit happier. So I'm going to adjust this last couple of bars of the bass part. I'm going to bring the Fender Rhodes back in. So let's do that first. Let's go and fix this last 4 bars of the bass, because there's a specific pattern that I want here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete all of these notes here. Bye-bye, bye-bye, and bye-bye. And then I'm going to put in some new notes, and hopefully this will take shape. I could just record them in again, but I can't be bothered. Nope. That's not what I want. Let's see, let's zoom out just a little bit. So that's going to go on the and there, and the and there. So I want to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I think 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and yeah, that's what I want to do. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and it'll all make sense in a minute, folks, okay? And I'm just gonna kind of make these a little bit more human. Want a little bit of a build up here. So I want that last one to be nice and big. All right, so there we go. Let's just squish that back up. Happy with that now. And the next thing I want to do is I want to go into the Fender Rhodes part here and get that in next. Oops. Didn't want to open the editor. So this is going to go 1. Basically. So let's set that up. Let's get the old click track on. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's what we want. And we're going to crossfade that. And of course I need to fix the guitar as well, don't I? Yeah. Oh, it's not going to let me do that. Oh, it's because this is in flipping automation mode, of course. I cannot actually edit the MIDI. Huh. That is annoying. I can actually get access to my MIDI. Nope. Oh, there we go. There we go. Sorted. I just need to go and turn back on that automation. So let's go get that. I know this is maybe a little less kind of exciting. One and two and one and two and three. That should be down there. And four. And so go fix that one. Then I'll go fix the automation in just a minute. If I can remember how to get back into that. Okay, let's get out of that. Where's my automation link gone? All right, so we're going to build into that, guys, is what we're going to do with this last little bit. That's how that's going to work. So that's going to be cool. So what I want to do now is have a little bit of melody that we've not heard before that's going to build into this dominant chord here on this last bar. And everybody's going to be on this dominant chord. And it'll lead back into... Okay, so that's kind of where we're going with this. So we're going to start with bringing back our trumpet. And I'm going to basically just go through and layer is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do a bit, and then I'm going to add another bit, and then another bit, and then another bit. And I may keep these muted trumpets in. I may not. I'm certainly not going to have the crescendo trombones anymore. I don't think. Yeah. So I'm just going to start with a piece of melody. And then I'm going to harmonize it, and I'm going to add layers of harmony. Now, the cool thing is, because the Rhodes isn't in here, we have no chords. So we're quite free to kind of do whatever we want harmonically. Although I kind of want to stay more or less strictly to the brief for this piece, which is kind of just using G minor, C minor. So we're going to stick to our... we're going to stick to that scale. Because we're kind of on a, you know, we're kind of on that G minor here. So we're going to kind of stick around that G minor thing, and we're going to kind of layer up some cool little modal harmonies, and we'll see how it goes. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. And I'm probably going to just loop this bit, to be honest. Yeah, I'll loop that bit. Just so I can play around with it. Let's go from 2 bars before. Something like that. Yeah, I quite like that. Let's do something like that. Something like that. And then I want to keep it relatively simple so I can layer everything. Okay. Let's get our clip back on. There we go. And let's drop down to the tenor. And we'll come up with something. Yeah, the harmony parts are going to take a little bit more doing. But that maybe that's a little bit high for the tenor. So let's get the alto in first. So yeah, something like that. Yeah, that didn't really work. Let's remove that. Yeah, that kind of works. Yeah, I might need to change that last bar. Might need to change that last bar, I think. Something like that. Oh no, that's a natural 9. That's not going to work. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, now we go to a tenor. Now we go to a tenor. Back up a bit. That might work. That was a mistake. Yeah, I think that works nice. All right, trombone. Trombone. It's going to double that part. So let's start maybe here. Something like that. It has to be the F sharp because that's the third of the D7 chord. Let's try it. Yeah. Let me think. Yeah, let's go for that. Yeah. Yeah. And maybe we get these muted trumpets in there as well. Kind of at the end, maybe. Yeah. Why not? Why not have a muted trumpet at the top there? Oops. Helps if you actually play Lipsham. Don't. Alrighty, let's do another trumpet part maybe. Or maybe just double that. Yeah, maybe not double that. Maybe not. Maybe double this instead. Maybe double this one instead. There we go. There we go, folks. I think we might have just nailed that. Let's back up a couple of bars before it and see if it fits contextually. Yeah, I think it kind of does, but I'm intrigued to see what you guys think of that little exercise. How about slide up to that last bone note? Yeah, could do. That is definitely an option. Yeah, I actually quite like that idea. Click on drop down menu for automation. Yeah, I got it in the end. I got it in the end. Thank you. Let's see. What VSTs am I using? I am using everything that is native to Studio One. So I'm using presence for pretty much all the VST action going on here. Only the Fender Rhodes is not a VST. That comes out of my Nord. And the bongos, which are in that cupboard back there. So yeah, how about the last top note? How about a last top note on bar 49? Bar 49. Let's go take a look at bar 49. Let's go take a look at bar 49 and see what Mika is thinking about. Oh, I see what you mean. Kind of resolving it to the G, kind of having a high G. Yeah, we could do that with the muted trumpets, maybe. Yeah, I actually like that idea. And just have a... That is a super high note for a trumpet player, but I actually know trumpet players that can do that. I think there probably is a glissando trumpet on here somewhere. In which case, I might actually go find it. I could probably put it in as a key switch. If I could be bothered. I could just drop it in as an extra track. Let's go and actually have a look and see what key switches there are. Oh, there are no key switches on this. Ew. Ah, I know why. Yeah, it's not meant to have key switches, this one. Yeah, because otherwise I was going to go and do like a fall type effect. Huh. That's given me an idea, though. That has given me a genuine idea. Let's go back into... I'll add it in the bottom. I'll just move it up. And we'll go... Where we go? Brass. Trumpets. What do we want? A slow fall? I don't think we want a slow fall. Fast fall. See where you, I really see where you're going with this. Why has that not done it? Why is that not falling? It says straight trumpet fast fall. That's not actually doing what it's supposed to do. Okay, let's try this. Okay, that kind of did it, but I want it faster than that. It's not actually falling. Should be doing a little fall, and it isn't. I don't know why that is. Or I could do shakes. That could be quite entertaining. Could do that. Or we could do... How about... Why is that not actually falling? It's not doing any falls. Should be. And it isn't. How about a bit of flutter tonguing? These are not working. That is supposed to be flutter tonguing, and it isn't. What is going on here? See, that works. Yeah, those kind of work, but for some reason the fast ones don't work. Don't know why. Maybe I'm just doing something wrong and I haven't spotted what it is yet. Oh, maybe I have to do it with the modulation wheel. Let's see. No, it's just not working. Okay, I'm going to have to abandon that idea because that, for some reason, doesn't work. Don't know why. I'll have to investigate that further, but it looks like there may be something wrong with some of the presence trumpets. I'm going to have to investigate that further. So I'm going to have to leave that there, to be honest. And we'll go straight to your questions instead. So sorry about that, guys. That was frustrating because that was a really great idea, Mika, and I really like that idea of, bow. Don't know why it's not working. But it isn't. Frustrating. Mika says, I know what the VS means. It means velocity switch. Yeah, I get that. Play the notes with your controller. Yeah, I was doing that, and it still wasn't working. Glissando is at max velocity on the VS patches. Yeah, I don't know why it's not working. Don't know why it's not working. Let's bring it in again and see if we can figure out why it wasn't working. Let's go back to trumpet. Trumpet straight, fast fall. See, now it's working. And now it's not working. Maybe I just need to really beat the living crap out of my keyboard to make it work. But it won't do more than one note. That's interesting. Okay, I'm just gonna have to spank. I'm gonna have to spank my keyboard. It's 28 years old. I hope it survives this. Let's see. Let's back it up to a bar before it because it seems to be working now. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, I just have to actually make sure those notes are in time. Other than that, that actually seemed to work. I don't know if that's what you kind of meant, Mika, but it kind of works. I wonder if there is something for saxes as well. If I call this trumpet falls. Maybe there's one for saxes as well. I don't know, to be honest. But we could look. Man, I'm onto presence instance number 13. Crazy. Let's see. Tenor sax. Let's go see. Oh, we do. Let's try it, man. Just for fun. You can actually hear the keys, man. Yeah, that might work. I have to beat the crap out of my keyboard though, so we'll call this tenor. Yeah. Yeah, I think that might work. Save everything. Save everything. Oh, you guys aren't even looking at the screen. Damn it. Damn it. Sorry about that. There we go. Something like that. I'll bring these fulls down a little bit. That's a bit better. Let's bring the tenor one down a little bit more. There we go. So the trumpet one is in the lead. Sorry about that. You guys weren't looking at the screen at all. My fault. I was not paying attention to what I'm supposed to be doing. Anyway, sorry. What presence patch was that? Yeah, I actually got it working. It's it's in presence, it's in the brass, and you scroll down. I'll show you. Hang on a minute. I'll show you. So it's in presence, and it's trumpet, straight, fast folds, velocity switch. That's what VS stands for. And it works. I was just not hitting my keys hard enough by the look of it. Is what I was doing. So there you go. So those falls actually work now, which is great. But that was a nice idea, Mika. Thank you. Great idea. Jose is here. He said, I just came. Awesome. Glad you're here. Love audio. Paul Weber says, we preferred you smacking the heck out of your keyboard. Yes. Yes. It's fun. This keyboard has been through thick and thin with me over the last 28, nearly 29 years. The only thing that doesn't work on it anymore is the little floppy disk drive at the bottom here, which you can't quite see. It's a little bit out of shot, but there is a little floppy disk drive here, and all it does is just go, Nyeh. That's all it does. It doesn't actually read any drives anymore. Doesn't read any disks anymore. It doesn't do any of that stuff, but it still works. The whole range of the keyboard still works. There's one of the little pressure sensors underneath here that doesn't work, but everything else really works beautifully on this. Although you can't hear it, because I'm not actually on anything. Yeah, that's why you couldn't hear anything. So yeah. So we got 16 people here, and I think that's kind of where we have peaked. We peaked at 19, which is a little down on what we would normally be at. We'd normally be around about 23, 24, 25 maybe, and so we're a little bit down on numbers this evening, but that's okay. I don't mind. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching me go through this process of putting this whole piece together. We have kind of run out of time, which is a bit annoying because I did want to get to you guys answering your questions. Ken says, dinner just ended, going to have to watch the replay of tonight's show. Have a great night. Okay, that's cool. I hope you enjoy it, Ken, and you get to see a little bit more of kind of how I work this whole thing out. But like I said, that kind of little 4-bar harmony thing that I had going on there was just, it's all based off an idea that I had in my head, and it's not perfect. I'll maybe go through and kind of reharmonize it a little bit just to tidy up, because it is awful kind of everybody's playing high up in their registers. So I might go and revoice it a little bit, but I think other than that, the idea itself is actually a good one and works well. So I just need to go and revoice it. But fundamentally, I think it's a good idea. Mike Neighbor says, that was a quick hour. Yeah, you're not kidding, it was. And I did start bang on time, and I did try to get us pretty quickly into working on the piece. But Mika's idea, I think, was a pretty good one. I'll just need to maybe balance them a little bit better so that they still have impact, but they're not too loud, and they don't overwhelm the impact of the first note of the melody in that last section. And probably between now and next week, I will go and I'll reharmonize the chord voicings a little bit in that last section, and I will go and fill out some of the gaps in this final A section, because I want this final A section to be really impactful. So I might actually double the melody with some extra instruments that we've already got. I'm not going to use any new instruments that we aren't already using in this tune. I'll maybe just kind of repurpose the melody a little bit. Just make it a little bit more interesting for this final A section. So it should be good. And then, so next week, I will play you the finished article of the composing part of this. And then, of course, after this, we would get to mixing it and mastering it after that. I'm not going to put you through that because you guys have been through listening to this tune enough as it is already, in my opinion. So, yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. And as I say, you'll get to hear the final bit at the start of next week's show. And we will devote the rest of the show to your questions. I'm just trying to straighten up my chair because I'm not very comfortable. So yeah, we'll devote the rest of next week's show to your questions and your questions alone once I've played you the whole thing all the way through. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed seeing how I go through this whole process. And sometimes it means for the most part, the way I work is that my pieces are, in my head already, and it's just a case of trying to realize it through the keyboard and through Studio One into everybody's ears. That's kind of my process. And it does mean that sometimes, what comes out isn't always what's in my head, and I have to kind of go and correct things and revisit and, think about things a little bit differently sometimes. But for the most part, it's a process that works pretty well. That's not to say that I won't change it up. Sometimes I'll deliberately go, okay, I'm actually going to reverse engineer my process. Because that can be a good thing to do sometimes when you're working on your pieces, is to change it up completely. If you've got a workflow that you just do every time, this is your process for writing a song, sometimes that can get a little bit stale because it's the way you do things all the time. And I have this discussion with people a lot. They say, well, that's just my workflow. This is my workflow is, and it's just as if workflow is something that is fixed. To me, workflow isn't something that is fixed. It is something that is always in stasis. It's something that's always in motion. It's always being refined and fine-tuned and improved. It's not something that's fixed. If your workflow is fixed, I think you're probably somebody that is going to run into a brick wall, metaphorically. Not necessarily a real one, but you might. But certainly a metaphorical brick wall, and you won't be able to go any further because your workflow is the thing that's getting in the way. And so, after all, the word workflow has the word flow in it, which means it should be constantly in motion, in my opinion. So, yeah. So sometimes it's a good idea to completely change up your workflow and go, you know what, instead of doing it on keyboards, I'm going to do it on guitar. Or I'm going to start with a melody and I'm going to harmonize the melody as I go, but I'm going to have the melody fully composed. That can be another way to do things, to get your creativity going in a different direction. So yes, it is 1 a.m. here in the UK because I am in the UK, Mr. Paul Webber. I am in Edinburgh, Scotland, which is, of course, as everybody knows, the capital of the world. So I will say thank you very much, folks, for coming. Thank you for, I think we just had the one donation. Yeah, we did. That was from Kyle, who sent me a $5, which is very kind of him. Thank you very much, mate. And I will say a very good night, and I will see you guys on Wednesday for Songwriting Simplified over on Jonny's channel. And between now and next Sunday, I will refine this last little bit of the piece, and then I will play it to you at the start of next week's show all the way through, and you'll hear the whole thing. It's only about 2 minutes long. So other than that, folks, I have only to kind of set up for the end part, which I haven't done, so I apologize. And I will see you guys around. Take care. Bye for now. Good night, everybody.